So here's the disc. Um, as you can see from here, it doesn't really look any different normally. Uh, I've looked at a lot of tutorials online for taking these toy versions of the identity discs and taking the guts out of them and modding them to where they look better. Because I think by default the LEDs that came in there was only like 5 or 6 of them, and it doesn't hardly do shit. It doesn't stay lit up very long. You have no control over like it staying on. Um, so, like everyone else, I wanted to make that better and actually put decent lighting in it. But after looking at all these tutorials, first of all, a lot of people don't actually give tutorials. They just simply go, "Oh, hey, here's a disc I made. Doesn't it look cool? It took a really long time to make. So long that I can't justify telling you how to do it, and no, it's not for sale." So I couldn't really fucking find out anything from that shit. And then some people did actually show the processes they went through, but they like fucking individually soldered like 50 plus LEDs, resistors, all that shit into there. And though I could do that, I don't have the fucking time or patience to do that shit. So I tried to find an easier method to go about it. In fact, initially, I did buy a shitload of I bought like 50 blue LED lights off of eBay with the intent to do it the hard way. But about a week later, while waiting for those lights to get here, I found an easy alternative. And I will put in the comments what this item is, how to get it, and how much I paid for it. And here it is. This is a pre-made, already put together strip of LEDs. You buy these in varied lengths. The ones I bought were 72 LEDs long. These things can be cut, though I think they're grouped in like sets of like 3 to 5. So there's a good chance if you cut it that like the last 2 lights may not work. So I ran into that problem, but it didn't really cause a problem in making the disc. Anyway, so this is already a cut piece. It used to be about 3 times longer than this. So anyway, so you get your disc and you open it up, not too hard. It only has like 6 screws in the back of it. You take a Dremel, whatever, take all the fucking guts out of it, get all the extra plastic out, because you're going to probably need as much room as you can get in there. In fact, I'm going to probably have to do a little bit more handiwork to get everything to fit in there perfectly so that it actually closes all the way. At this point, if I try to put it back together, there's still about a 1/4 of an inch gap, but that's really not that big of a deal, and I'm pretty sure I won't have a problem getting past that. So, anyway, so as you can see from the top, disc looks normal. Flip it over, and here I have all the lights installed. So I set these up to where the light, the end of the LEDs, the end of them here was actually pointing into this ring. There's like 5 or 6 areas on the inside of this ring that are used to attach the inside of the disc. They're like little almost triangle shapes. Cut those away too. So all you have is literally the ring on the outside. So you want to set up your LEDs so they're actually pointing out. Pointing out. Same goes for this inner ring here. And that's where I ran into a problem with it not closing all the way, because if you look at this from the side, this here sticks up pretty far. But if you wanted to be really hardcore, you could actually shave some of this plastic off of the top of this, and shave some of the plastic off from the top of these LEDs, because the light doesn't actually go all the way to the top, because this whole entire thing is coated with plastic. So as long as you don't hit anything internal, you're good to go. So yeah, so I have this up the same way where the lights are actually pointing down into the plastic, so that it you get the most brightness out of it. I'll show what it looks like when it's all lit up in a second. The video will pause, and yeah, but I did leave, like, even when it's lit up, there's like 4 areas on here where the light doesn't come through, and that's because I actually left some of the plastic there, because you don't want to cut it completely all the way, because then the only thing holding this inner part to this outer part will be this little piece right here, which means this is going to be floppy as shit and could easily break off. And on top of that, this blue piece here, which by the way is a big pain in the ass to get out initially, isn't going to fucking fit in there for shit. I mean, yeah, I could use a bunch of fucking glue, but nah. I went ahead and just left those like 4 little like holding pieces in there, so it would have, you know, the structure itself would just be stronger and hold together better over time. And the only other thing is, you know, just go get some badass super glue, basically. This is the stuff I got from this place called Hobby Town, and it's actually modeling super glue for see, it was only $5. For RC, like the big ass RC cars that use you know, the real engines with actual fuel and everything. So if it's made for those to hold those fucking things together, it'll be fine for this. And on top of that, this stuff dries. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus. Come on, iPhone. It looks like it's not going to do it. Anyways, it says it dries in 10 to 25 seconds. It doesn't dry that fast, but it does get thick enough to where you can hold it there for about 30 seconds, let go, and it's going to stay in place, and you can move on to gluing your next segment. I would do about 6 or 7 LEDs at a time. Just put a little bitty dot on the end of each one, hold it on there, good to go. So, yeah, so let me show you what it looks like all lit up so you can see. So, real quick, before I turn this on, I am going to show a clip from someone else's video of what the disc looks like by default. Probably 9 times out of 10, if you're viewing this right now, you already own one of these or you've seen them, so you know what it looks like, which isn't very bright. But just for the slight chance that someone watching this doesn't know what it looks like, here's a video or a short clip of what they look like by default.
Okay, there's one of the illuminations and sound effects. And there's another one. There's another one. All in all, it's pretty catchy, don't you think?
Alright, so now that you've seen what the default version looks like, here's mine. Once again, this does not take that much effort. It's really cheap. You don't need a lot of modding experience, you know, or electronic experience. You just need to know how to do really basic wiring. I mean, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong with this. So you pretty much just undo the thing, rip the guts out, you know, chip away, Dremel away the extra plastic in there, glue the new lights in, which they're already in this strip that I told you about, so it makes it real fucking easy. You don't have to solder anything. You don't have to, you know, fuck around with the resistors, worry about voltage, any of that other kind of shit. These things are meant to be ran off of 12 volts DC, which I actually happen to have a battery pack that has, was it 6 or 8 double A's in it, which does give me 12 volts, but at the same time, these things will run off of a 9 volt battery. It's not quite as bright, but it's still a whole lot fucking better than the default lighting. And with the 9 volt, though I'm not going to do this, you could have set it up where the 9 volt would have actually fit inside this thing probably. Or it would have been poking out a little in the back. I have a side project I'm going to use this thing with, so I actually don't need to see the back side of it ever, because it's going to be placed on top of something else. It's actually going on the back of a jacket I'm working on, which is really nerdy and kind of like it is in the movie. But anyways, so this is what it looks like when it's on. So there you go. You can see what I was talking about with the 4 areas that the light doesn't really come through, and those are the little areas where it's holding the thing together. So they don't really bother me much. I don't mind. There actually were 6. I actually wish I would have left the other 2 in there, because it would have, you know, just made it more uniform and equal and shit, symmetrical, whatever. So, and here's what it's like with the lights off. As you can see, it's really fucking bright. Yeah, these lights that I put in here, they're actually initially made to be put in cars for, like, you know, pimping out your ride kind of shit. So yeah, they're really fucking bright. I mean, there's really not much else to say. This is it. Here's what you got. Here's what it looks like on the opposite side. So I'm guessing there's probably about 100 LEDs in there. So more than enough light here to get the job done. And I've seen some that are, still brighter than this. But I'm quite satisfied with this, considering it didn't really take that much effort. I did have to wait a while to get the parts in because they came from overseas, but other than that, pretty satisfied with this, and hope this helped if you're looking